In this episode, I talk about how to make more sales of your product. Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 32 of the Honest Entrepreneur Show. My name's Tom Ross, and let's get into it.
This question is from Rin Pohas. I'm a 20-year-old typographer and have been making fonts for a living for 2 years now. And I'm struggling with how I can reach more fellow designers who would love to use my fonts. I tried Instagram ads before, but it didn't work so well. I always think my fonts are great, but I just don't know how to show it to everyone. Great tips from you would help a lot. Thank you so much.
That is a good question. I'm trying to work out, Marco, if it's Rin or Ryan. We're going to go with Rin, hopefully. But yeah, it sounds like Rin is asking how to get fonts out into the market, how to get people engaged and interested and ultimately buying them. And it's a pretty broad question, to be honest, Rin, because what you're asking essentially is how to sell anything online. It's kind of irrelevant that it happens to be fonts because the same practices are going to apply to most things, especially digital products. So the answer is always working out where your ideal customers are, where they hang out, and then working out ways to hack in terms of getting in front of them. And there's a billion ways to do that. So just to look at a few, you mentioned ads. Just because they haven't worked for you yet doesn't mean they can't. I know some font designers in our community who are killing it with ads, but only because they went and invested the time and figured out the nuances of how to do that. So, for example, there's one guy I'm thinking of. He took a Facebook ads course. He did 20 different ads. He split tested them. 18 of them didn't work, but then 2 did, and he got an ROI on them. He pumped more money behind them, and he scaled that. And then he started doing well from Facebook ads. But like anything, it takes time to master. And so you've got to really invest the time and work in learning that. But that is 1% of the pie in terms of how you can get your stuff out there. There is influencer marketing. This is something we do at my company. So look at anyone that has an audience that has people interested in fonts in it, preferably they're not making their own fonts because then they're kind of a competitor, but someone with a creative audience, and then give them the font for free and say, what do you think? Like, I hope you enjoy it. I love everything that you do. And I think this font could fit into your work nicely. And then ask if they're willing to tag you up in their posts, tag you up in their stories, do a swipe up link to where they can go and get it, and do some kind of business development there. Realize with any of this stuff, going in cold is often tricky. So try and bring value, try and build relationship and context before you go straight in for the ask. No one likes to get a DM that is paper thin in terms of how obvious and transparent it is in terms of, hey, I love what you're doing, but have this free font and please immediately do something for me. So try and frame it up in a more engaging, interesting, valuable way than that. Try and build that upfront context. You can do tons of stuff. You can guest blog. You can get on other websites and talk about how to create stuff. You could write a tutorial for us even at Design Cuts and say, here's how to make this beautiful piece. Oh, and if you're wondering what font I used in this tutorial, you can get it here. There is no one size fits all, right? It's just putting yourself out there as much as you can, participating in Facebook groups, putting out content on social media, business development, guest blogging, ads. So many different ways. You just need to try it all and really throw your heart and soul into it. And I guess the main shift to think about is spend less time creating and more time on distribution. And this is a very common thing that people have the wrong way round. They put inordinate amounts of time into the creative process of actually building the product, and then they put relatively small amount of time. They might tickle Facebook ads and then give up on them. They might try a guest blog and give up on that, and they don't really allocate due time to the distribution. So think of it like the 80-20 rule. If 20% of your time goes into building the product, 80% of your time should be going into all of the plethora of ways of actually getting it out in front of people. And realize this is not an overnight thing, right? This should be an ongoing effort. You should be business developing for years to come. You should be trying all these different channels for years to come. You should start building your own website, preferably. You should have your own email newsletter, but that takes time to build up. It literally might take you years and years and years to build enough connections and enough community, enough audience around what you're doing to actually get some serious sales and serious traction. And in the meantime, what I would say is use people like us, my company Design Cuts, to help with that distribution. That's why we exist, because not everyone has an immediate audience. Not everyone loves marketing and dealing with distribution. So therefore, we take a cut of the sales and we get it out to more people on your behalf. And I'm not saying just go with us. I always advise, get on a whole bunch of platforms and have your own website, because then you're diversifying the impact. You're reaching more audiences than you could on your own. So I would do all of that stuff. Thanks so much for the question. I hope the answer was helpful. And for everyone watching today, the question of the day is, what would you say your split is when it comes to creating versus distribution? Thanks so much for watching this episode, everyone. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe using the little bell icon below on YouTube. That is the best single way to get notified when I release new daily episodes and try and bring you that daily value. So if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe.